Gather round, my friends, today we've hit a milestone, hooray! Hooray! Episode 100, loud and proud. Though our math is wrong, we'll still sing it out loud. It's 100, yes, but really it's more. We've done 200 plus. If you check the score, from AV rants to the tech we adore, here's to the AV SuperFriends, may we do plenty more. We've puzzled over haunted halls, debugging glitches, taking your calls, with cables tangled, docks ignored, and Justin's budget tricks explored. Ramp! It's 100, yes, but really it's more. We've done 200 plus. If you check the score, from AV chaos to campus folklore, here's to the AV SuperFriends, may we do plenty more. Marc keeps us grounded with wits so quick, while Chris simplifies sometimes too slick. Larry reminds us to think of the true, and Jamie, well, he's frugal, cheap, but true. Justin's metaverse antics are always a thrill. Even trapped in VR, he's designing still. We've tackled systems old and new, and things we swore we'd never do. Our jokes don't always land just right, but hey, at least we hit record tonight. It's 100, yes, but really it's more. We've done 200 plus. If you check the score, with laughter, lessons, and tech galore, here's to the AV SuperFriends, may we do plenty more. So here's to the podcast, the wins and flops, the broken mics, and who's gonna hit stop? We'll keep on going, the tech never ends. Cheers to the next 100 from your AV SuperFriends.
This is AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, an almost regularly scheduled open discussion on audio and video in higher education. We'll sound off about our most brilliant ideas, our dumbest mistakes, and everything in between. And because this conversation will almost certainly go off the rails at some point, we'll end up covering just about everything else. And now, the AV SuperFriends. For December 6, 2024, it's the best-sounding podcast in higher ed. This is the AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, episode number 100. It's the last one. We're done.
Yay.
Thank you, everybody. We're leaving right now.
Sorry.
Broadcasting live across 4 time zones, from coast to coast, easternmost to westernmost, northernmost to southernmost, gate post to hitching post. I'm your local host who can boast the most milquetoast and utmost humility. I'm Chris Dexter. Time for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure. With the extra AV SuperFriend has returned. So let's say hello to
the original
august
cast
panel. Everyone is back. We'll say hello in a minute here, but let's first say hello to, hold on, this one.
Come on.
Say hello to an interactive assurance administrator from Kansas City. Welcome, Jamie Reinhardt.
That's assurance, not insurance.
Yeah, I need you to fix my car. Also, say hello to a Dynamics Metrics producer from Corvallis, Oregon, Marc Kolozinski.
9mm. I'm telling you guys, we're going to have so many of these. It's going to be amazing.
Can it be flexible between 9 and like 9.5, so it's dynamic?
No.
Also joined by a very special guest, a human ideation synergist from Northern Virginia, Rachel Bradshaw.
Oh my God, the prodigal daughter lives.
Welcome, Rachel. Joined by Justin, stop doing that in the. I can see you doing that in the document. So, joined by a regional security strategist from Greensboro, North Carolina. Say hello to Larry Darling.
Yep, I just keep this little tiny area secure. Everything else is secure.
Within 3 feet of me.
It's an island.
It's secure. And finally, we're joined by our illustrious Vice President for Regional Optimization from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Justin Rexing.
Do you copy and paste these from last week?
No way. No. This is fresh.
This is fresh content every show.
It's always in here. And then there's Chris, that guy.
All right.
Who just does this stuff.
Go back to the other. Let's go back to the full panel. Let me shut this up. Everything shut up. Why aren't you not shutting up there? All right. So yeah, this is the original 6.
Here we are.
We started right there. There we are. This is how it started, and we're still here. So
Somehow, as Joe is, all downhill for me. It's been nothing but downhill since the very beginning.
Joe, yeah, we've downhill since the first one.
Yeah.
We're
Started on
still
a high.
But we're moving downhill very fast.
There's movement
So.
in a direction we can't tell which way it is. It's just into the future.
So and we'll talk some retrospective stuff in a little bit, but as a special teaser, I thought it would be fun to play this audio clip.
Ooh.
Let me know if you know who this is.
Ooh. Okay.
From September 11th, 2020.
Oh, yes. Remember this?
You're gonna do 9/11.
Never forget.
I remember this.
This was the original
the test
intro.
thing. Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
We did this?
I think I did.
Welcome
Mark did this.
to AV SuperFriends show.
Mark, who did the voiceover?
Shit, I do not remember this.
You don't remember? It may have never. No, because it was going back and forth. Chris and I were just playing with things. And I sent it over. I'm like, hey,
higher ed and professional
I am
AV.
so
From the
glad we
brief
didn't do
period
this.
when we considered
AV SuperFriends.
being an adult AV podcast.
Yeah.
it's amazing. Yeah. We should go with
broadcasted
this.
at midnight adult, like adult entertainment
have
adult,
been-
not
no,
professional
This is
adult.
AV
podcast.
SuperFriends
Oh, no.
off the rails.
I don't think we ever considered being like professional adults.
So some of the text is the same, but the rest of it. So I jumped right in here. I'll play back here.
No, I got you.
Oops. Unpause. Unpause. Why are you not unpausing?
No, no. See,
I broke it.
Because we've
Go.
deleted it.
Oh crap! I reset it. Hold on.
We don't need that one.
Let's separate this, right? So with the gig economy being, let's say, the Uber of AV.
This sounds terrible.
What's the
Is this
other?
on Zoom?
This is
I never use this stupid
what were we
services
using at
'cause they
this
don't
point,
come with
Marc?
The country. So there's Uber, and what's the other one?
Yes.
Lyft. There.
I don't know. I think we were Zoom in early
No,
days.
the first couple
And then-
were Zoom.
That's going to be our next podcast, AV SuperFriends After Dark, launching in 2025.
We used that
that
video.
was garbage.
The free WebRTC video service, Chris.
Oh,
What
we
was
were
that?
using
It was
Video
Oh, yeah.
Ninja for a while.
Video Ninja for a while,
but
That's
not
what
for
this
the
was.
audio.
And in fact, we even used
No.
it.
No, we didn't use Clean Feed
this
for a while.
was Zoom, and then we went to Clean Feed.
For instance, we had a situation.
So
This number of PhDs
There's Rachel
out into
on
the
episode 1.
marketplace every year, and there is a teeny tiny number of tenured professor
all so young
positions
back then.
available on the job market.
I mean, you could just hear
We
it
all
in
had
our
such
voices.
bad microphones. So
Yeah. Yes.
we were like in college and yeah.
Oh, we are still in college.
still
we
in
work for the
college.
university.
So there's a blast from the past, episode 1, which we didn't even title appropriately. I think we called it the Menacing Phantom or something as a crappy Star Wars joke. But the very next episode, by the way, we did use the intro we've been using for the last 100 plus episodes. So
Yeah, well, I'm glad it only lasted one because that was.
Hey, that was a deep cut. I have that on vinyl, and it's like I'm just.
by the way,
rotating
if
that thing.
anyone's interested, and I do have people every now and then who mention this, that they want to go back and hear all the episodes are still on the RSS feed. A lot of modern podcast applications will only go back 100 episodes, and there's far more than 100 episodes out there, but you can find all that stuff still out there on the RSS feed. So enjoy that.
But when
Or
will the
don't.
soundtrack be released? Because I'm going to need to spend that 100 episodes track
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
regularly.
Soundtrack.
All right. So, I guess before we jump into the show at large here, so on today's show, we're going to discuss when AV was the most AV of all AV you could possibly be. We're also going to take a look back at our favorite moments from the last 100 episodes. But first, a little bit of housekeeping, and then we have something special for you. So, first of all, if you're listening to this later as a recorded MP3, we do stream live on Friday afternoons at about 3:15, 3:30 Eastern, 12:15, 12:30 Pacific, or whenever usually Mark shows up.
Wasn't
but
so
you
bad
can-
today. It was kind of here on time.
You were close. But
Fashionably.
you can join us live on Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube, and we can even take your calls live when I remember to start that system, which I did. So if I remember later on, we can do that. If you can't join us live, we still want to connect. We still want you to connect with us on the socials. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and YouTube to keep up with our latest updates and news, which is mainly just me and Larry posting stuff. And please don't forget to spread the word. If you could share this podcast with your friends, colleagues, enemies, perfect strangers, and anyone else who might enjoy it, or anybody else who might hate it. So if you could stand behind somebody too close in the grocery checkout line and like take their phone and subscribe them to it, that'd be great. If you want to support the show, please consider donating. Your contributions enable us to provide you with the honest content that you love or that you love to hate. So you can find the donation link in the show notes of this very episode or on our website or damn near anywhere. Or put a $5 bill into a self-addressed stamped envelope and mail it to Larry's house, care of
just put Larry's
the
house
great state of North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
They'll find it. So
zip code 1 should be fine.
We do want to hear from you, so if you have a topic you'd like us to cover, if you want to yell at us about something we said, or you want to vehemently agree with us, then you can reach out to us on social media or hit us up on email, mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. And finally, while you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this, please go in and give us a rating. That rating bumps us up in the algorithms and will expose our horror to more people. So please do that.
Thank you all. If you've been the ones that are like watching those little reels we put out, amazing. Those are those short little episodes on YouTube. A bunch of you guys watch those, and thank you.
I don't know who it is. I think someone watches it 100 times in a row.
Bot or something.
How it works.
Yeah, thank you to that bot.
Yeah, he's done a great job.
Doing hard work.
Russian bot.
And now here's where we normally say you waited all week for it, and we get to hear Justin sing along with the news theme, but we don't have that this time. Instead,
I got news.
We have news from Justin. Do you still want the news theme? You want that? Do you want to sing along anyway?
Yeah, just give it to him.
Hell yeah.
You know, second.
Yeah.
Okay, Justin. What's your news?
Rachel knows my wife, right? Lauren used to work at a VIXA a long time ago. Well, we like to go to the movies, and she decided, hey, I just saw this 4D movie experience, so let's go to it. It's like, yeah, sure. I'll try anything once.
Where was that advertised? Where did you see like 4D? What's going on?
She works in Nashville, so obviously the movie theater is in Nashville at the Opry Mills Mall, and it's just a 4D experience. And I didn't Google anything. I was like, fine, let's go. Let's rock it out. Let's do this. So she talked with somebody else about seeing something online about it and how they were completely drenched walking out of the theater. And I was like, okay, well...
This feels bad. Like just from what you've already said, like this feels bad, but okay.
So we're like, okay, fine. So we get in the car.
Waterworld or something.
Yeah,
like the number of public spaces I'm willing to be wet in is.
See, I assume like what you said right there. This is the Titanic experience down in Orlando. You're just there getting drenched with wet water.
No, we're going to go see Gladiator, the new Gladiator, right? So she's a big Gladiator fan. Likes the first one.
With a 4D experience.
4D experience, probably.
The previews make that look like a very dry movie. Like it's sort of dusty in nature.
Except for the sweat
Desert-esque.
The sweat and blood.
Yeah. 115 degrees in the theater. People just
aside
sweat
from
their
the
ass
bodily
off.
fluids.
Right. So we don't really know what to experience. Like we've never been to one of these things before. So what we get to Bass Pro Shops, we park because that's what
What'd you get there? Anything fun?
We have to walk through Bass Pro Shops.
He got some bass
to get to the theater, right? So once we parked, me and her ate our gummies because that's what we do before we go into the movie theater. That's going to be our experience.
So many other questions now, but
so
okay.
we come in. And I start observing things, correct? I start looking up and looking around and I've got
you should eat those gummies like on your drive. I just want to say like 45 minutes kind of a thing, but okay, carry on.
No, it's like they're pretty fast acting. So anyways,
shit.
Like
we walk in and I start to look around and I made notes of like things I observed. The chairs were all in groups of 4 and they were all elevated a little bit and they had like little actuators and mechanical stuff. They had tubes hanging out of them. I was like,
were you concerned at that moment when you saw that? You're like, are we sure?
No, I wasn't really. The concern part is coming. Like you'll know when I start to get concerned. I'm kind of aloof.
I was already.
I'm aloof. I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be something. If you ever been to a 4D movie experience, you're about to understand what I'm about to say.
Edge of my seat.
So there's a button on the armrest that says water on, water off. And Lauren, like, very worried about this because it's freaking winter out. Like, yeah, I'm turning the water off. I'm like, I'm going to leave mine on. Because I'm
she's sitting next to you, right? So yeah, what's the worst thing that could happen?
She's
I
close.
don't mind being a little moist
strangers.
when it's cold outside. It's all right.
But I'm observing the seats are like made of leather. I mean, they're cloth. I'm looking around. There's not a lot of waterproof things. So I'm like, I'm going to risk it. I don't think the movie theater is going to drench these seats and have to worry about mold and cleaning.
The theater should have had the floor wet. When you walked in, it should have been puddles and shit.
Dry.
Like, it should have been like, what am I about to get involved with?
I was like, I'm going to risk it. So my biggest concern was, okay, the dogs just got home from doggy daycare, so you're going to see them pop in. Anyways, there she is right there.
Is this part of the story?
Hey, Lauren. Yeah, this is part of the story. Hey, Lauren, I'm telling the movie story. Oh, she says. So, yeah, she hasn't fully recovered yet. Did you all hear that? Tubes hanging out of the seats. Let's see what else. Oh, fans. There's a lot of fans up in the corner of the room, right? I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. There was a very specific place to put your seat. It was almost like a roller coaster type seat. Okay, so it. Like a barber
Was there a
shop.
lap bar in this thing?
Like a barbershop chair. That's exactly what it was like. Okay. But again, I noticed everything was cloth and all of that stuff. So I kind of set up, there's no seat belt. I want to make sure that everybody understands that there was no seat belts involved.
Should there have been?
Did you have to sign a waiver at any point?
Oh, was it like a lift ticket? Or it had like all the stuff you had to sign away?
There was no warnings on the door.
And you stuck it to the zipper of your jacket.
If you recently had surgery, please do not enter this room. There's no, if you're over the age of 65, please consult a physician.
A warning, man.
Must be this tall at least? Like, how did that work out?
None of that shit.
No? Okay.
Did you put soap in your shoes to get in?
No soap in the shoes. Nothing like that. It was so previews start. Previews are normal. So you're kind of going through. You know how they have the roller coaster preview part to get like.
Wait, no, I don't.
To get you buy snacks.
The roller coaster preview part. Unpack that for me.
So, like Regal has this preview thing.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
there's only like three things in the
Carmike Theater,
hits you in the face and all that, and you whiz by all the Skittles and shit.
Roller coaster,
yeah. That's not moving the chair.
There wasn't some kid throwing Skittles at you.
It's not part of the immersive experience.
Not immersive experience. So
it's like a missed opportunity.
We're all chilling.
Whip some candy in your face.
Money back for this.
I got my sour Skittles. You know,
and your gummies
are good. Mm-hmm. We're rocking, and I look over and I was like, hey, wifey's okay. She's sitting there. She's got her jacket on. So the last preview hits, and I was okay.
Wait, so it started moving?
Oh, yeah. Okay, was that a calibration? Or is that part of... All right, nothing else really happened. Okay, the lights go off. Shit hits the fan. Okay, so I don't really know. I can't really explain every detail of this.
Do your best. We're helping you. We're here for you.
So when there's fighting happening, I'm not saying your chair is shaking. I'm worried about staying in the MFing chair. I'm over here doing this, and I'm kind of in my own little world right now, and I'm just enjoying the theater.
No, you're not.
And the movie. But remember the 4 banks of chairs. Uh-huh. So you know how a teeter-totter works, right?
Oh, no.
So wife is at the end over here, and I got 2 strangers over here, and there's this. So I'm sitting by dude's wife, and then dude is at the far end.
What's his name?
I happen to look over at Lauren, and that poor woman's her head.
She's petite. She's not a large person.
And there's arrows flying by your head, and there's these little wind actuator things.
Arrows flying by your head? Oh, just
like in the theater, but like you feel it because there's air pockets. And like,
do you have 3D glasses on in this by chance?
No,
as well?
There's no glasses.
I'm just wondering. Okay,
I look over at Lauren. She's holding on to dear life, and every time one of those arrows passes, her hair goes, and she's over there like, son of a bitch, god damn shit. and she is rocking harder than I like. Bruh, she can't eat her popcorn, and I'm over there kind of eating popcorn, watching the movie, laughing. I was in tears, laughing so hard. I tap her on the shoulder, and she
punches you in the face.
She starts laughing so hard, you can't. Your eyes are rattling to where you can't see the movie. Like, we have to rewatch the movie.
You didn't even get to see it at all. It's just
no. And it's Gladiator, so 80% of the movie's fighting. And like when the horse happened, like when you're riding the horse, or you're not even riding the horse. You watch somebody ride the horse. And I'm like, oh my God, was that a horse or was that a dragon? I don't know what that was. I couldn't see it because my eyes are rattling in my freaking head the whole time. I don't know. My back hurt for a week after that. She has complaints about, I don't know if she's walking straight still. I'm not exactly sure. We might have to go to a doctor. There needs to be some serious. I didn't have to sign a waiver. There was no like, hey, are you guys sure you're ready for what's about to happen in there? There was the concession stand people didn't warn us. I look over at the people at the right. I was getting hit with popcorn and drinks from their side. It was.
I mean, how was the projection?
I didn't see
it.
Exactly.
Who knows?
And then whenever there was nothing happening,
yeah, but what speakers were they using?
Yeah,
I don't know. The fans.
I need to know what the processor was.
As people were walking through the fields and stuff. That was kind of nice. The horse thing was the only thing, like when there was a fight scene and somebody get hit in the back, your lumbar adjustment in your car, put that on like turbo.
It just like kicks you.
And there's these things that are, I'm like, son of a bitch. I was like, I wanted to get in the fight with the seat because it was, come on.
So good. Okay.
They had, I don't know if you like if you like roller coasters, and you don't mind to leave a theater injured, you can go to a 4D experience.
No,
I have a lot of questions about this. Like, okay, here's my first question. This 4D theater is not a Gladiator 4D theater. It's a general purpose.
It's just a standard Regal theater. Like you can go to Nashville to Regal theater. And it's in all big cities, I guess. It's 4D experience. And I don't,
So theoretically, I could go have my Gladiator.
Go watch Wicked there.
4D experience, or go have my Wicked 4D
I wonder if
experience.
Wicked would be. I think the movie.
Does Wicked have the horses and arrows and stuff too?
Well, see, Wicked might have been better because, like, if you're flying on a broom and they just tilt the chair gradually, that'd be nice.
What's the data track of this look like?
That defying gravity scene. I'm pretty sure you would puke.
Okay, maybe.
It is intense. I think the Cynthia Erivo Ariana Grande press tour does not do justice to how grandiose John Chu's directorial stylings are. But here's my question, right? Like, it's the same theater for any film. Who is creating the 4D experience? Who's designing this aspect of your theatrical experience? I don't think John Chu is involved, or whoever.
Like, is it part of the automation track? Like, is it a hidden track with data that's like comes along with the distribution? Like, here's your 4D data. You need to make sure you have.
Or is there like a guy?
It's shoved up there. Oh, they're gonna get it today.
You see that a-hole down there in the blue shirt? Watch this.
And the mist, the water, that was never the problem. Like the mist popped up, I was like,
it's refreshing after being beat to shit.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, is it like manual?
Right from the urinals?
I'm curious. If you're here and you're listening to this, let us know. Like, how is this actually orchestrated? Because is it automated or is it like manually, real time, human induced?
Yeah, it's gotta be
Is there
automated.
a wizard behind the curtain?
I mean, it's definitely automated because the punches in the back, like they hit right on time.
DMX
I mean,
channel.
it's like, but the tilting of the chair and the forward and back as someone was fighting, I think that's really what
very
it ruined everything
for a feature-length film. I mean, it's one thing to be in like a 10-minute short that's, haha, that was funny, Toy Story or something, but I don't, a feature-length film, and especially like a Gladiator, which is 2 hours plus, isn't it?
and very kinetic.
Yeah.
That's just a
I think
lot.
we just needed to turn the decibels down on the chair movement a little bit. I think the arrows I can understand. The fans were great. She bought the tickets. I'm not sure, Aaron. Like she always pays for the movie tickets. That's part of her budget.
Oh, we see how this is.
Yeah.
So I mean, but let's for real. So this is your standard classroom, right? This is what you're putting in.
Yes, is this going to lead to immersive experiences in all our learning spaces?
This is a new active learning space.
Immersive isn't always the best. I mean,
So
that's not.
This is leading me to a thesis about immersive experiences, which is that it's not that they're bad, but it's that they can be. And I think you should pick, right? You should only try to immerse people in one or maybe two senses at a time.
There's a lot going on there. It was a lot to handle. I probably should have asked for a refund.
How much was it?
Or at
How
least a
much did
seatbelt.
how much did the gummies play into this? That's my real curiosity. Like,
I think that's the only thing that didn't make us
amplifier?
leave. I think that's the
you would have
only
been
thing
making clearer decisions.
that kept Lauren in her seat because she was glued, man. She was like, holy shit. She was holding on for dear life. And I was over there just laughing and crying like, I could barely
I'm
keep in the
assuming
chair.
that you guys had your gummies and you weren't actually at a movie theater. You're at somebody's house.
This never happened.
They were trying to get you to
It's like
leave.
a very powerful
Yeah,
delusion.
These
At
were
Bass
the
Pro
laced
Shop.
version.
Yes.
You were
Gummies
just parked
dipped
in
in some
front of the
LSD.
fish
Don't worry
tank the
about
whole
it.
time.
We were there. I promise. Our back hurt for a week after that. I promise. We were there.
Oh boy. Yeah. So okay. Well,
Well, this sounds like something we all need to investigate immediately.
No.
Yeah, that was not fun. We're
I
not
do
going to go
believe-
back.
It's
not
been
gonna go back?
advertised with the Microsoft Teams and some
Yeah,
of
it's
the
coming.
manufacturers, the immersive
Ooh,
experience.
4D
I think we need to
MTR.
bring it. We need to bring it.
40 MTR. You're right. Only in your highest level corporate spaces that need it.
Yeah.
Rachel
In the
Ario is
C-suite.
the next Cheers move.
Every time the CEO announces this quarter's KPIs, everybody's seats like jerk to the side.
punched. Yes.
It was almost as if they were trying to give you that first person experience, but the movie wasn't in first person. There was like a big disconnect, and I just felt they were shaking you like a doll during a fight just because they wanted to, you know?
Well, this is on a slightly more serious note. This is both why like the Sphere experience in Las Vegas works and why it's not scalable. Because all of the shows that happen in the Sphere are specifically designed for that space and not replicable to any other space.
Right. Like what I noticed is the arrow's coming this way, but guess where the wind's going? That way, because it's coming from the chair behind you that you're, and then the.
So what you're saying is that alone just took you out of the
it threw
movie.
me
You
off.
lost all immersion. You
Broke the
just
fourth wall. Just
Well, I mean,
There was just a
it's
lot
every
of it.
little thing because the
Yeah,
theater
it's
is
all of
not
it.
designed to be in alignment with the content you're seeing. It's just like you have what you have in the theater. You create some automations that you can do with the stuff that you have there. And then those automations may or may not do anything to actually immerse you in the content. They may just, wiggle you around, dump you out of your seat, make you throw your popcorn over your shoulder.
Sounds like a college party.
Yeah.
Throw you
Throw
around a
in
little
some
bit,
gummies.
wiggle
It's
out
a
of your
good time.
seat,
Yeah, pretty much.
try to make your way home.
I think the gummies were the only
This is
thing
some
that
really
made it
AV
tolerable.
Super Friends After Dark content.
Friends After Dark.
Holy smokes, man.
I'm just seeing like one of those elaborate massage chairs just set up in
It's
cheap
kind of, no,
theaters.
think of it like
There it
a
is.
that's me right there. But that person has more hair. But that's basically how it looked, except the screen was in front of me and not behind me.
well, you weren't paying
Thanks,
attention.
AI.
Yeah.
Well, how about this one? Is that better?
That's more appropriate. That's actually what the seats look like. They were big barber type raised up.
Did you get a haircut while you were there?
No, I cut my hair last night. Thanks for noticing though.
Man, that's awesome.
This man is also not having a good time.
The adventures in AV.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So you said you're never going to do this again, huh?
I kind of
Or is it
wanna
content
go see-
specific? Is it like everything? It's got to be
I want to do a
content
little
specific.
bit more research, and I want to go see maybe one more movie to see.
Why?
No.
You
Like
just said it
more
was a
gummies.
horrible experience.
No, I want to see like Sesame Street. And
Yeah, I want to see like a
rock the-
rom-com in this movie.
I want to see something that's like so boring and bland that I want to see if they're just shaking you like a doll just to do it, you know,
I can't
like
imagine
no rhyme or reason.
exist for that. But okay, yeah, let's go.
I don't even know what other movies they show in that. See, I guess I can. Let me see.
Find a legal drama. That's what you want. You want that in
Yeah,
the 4D
My
theater.
Cousin
Drama.
Vinny.
Yeah.
4D Regal.
I was thinking more like Kramer
Movie
versus
theater.
Kramer. You know, something really intense that has
There's one in
all
Atlanta.
the explosions.
Oh, I like the idea of like being able to
40X.
feel Joe Pesci's spit on my face
Just the water.
when he's going, does the grit absorb water in your kitchen?
So here's a whole menu of where they are. So
No.
there's like
we can't see that?
Chicago and Honolulu.
Yeah, we don't see it.
and
Yeah, we're not
like-
giving them
yeah, I
a
know.
commercial here. We just
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to find.
He's
the movies.
warning people where not to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're in Chicago,
Like
don't
Mona,
go there.
Wicked, Mona 2, Gladiator 2, Y2K.
Mona?
What the fuck is it? Werewolves. Don't see that werewolves
The
movie
AV
there.
SuperFriends After Dark version of that film.
Sonic 3? Hell no.
Moana
would
2
be a
would
good-
be a real high risk, high reward.
Yeah, I think that's a
4D
good one,
theater
too. Yeah.
experience. That would be the
maybe.
one. Because maybe they've turned things down a bit so they don't dump the kids out of the chairs.
I don't
But the
know.
water is going to be
They've got the
all
water
over.
actuators
It's
dialed
all
up to
around
11.
water and boats and actually, yeah, that one probably was worse.
I'm in.
The-
Let's go.
Craven? Homestead?
Okay.
Pushpa? I don't know. what
Immersive
Pushpa is.
experiences, mileage may vary.
Yeah.
Is the
Be
I think-
careful.
I think
See your
Aaron had it
doctor.
exactly right. Like, you need custom content and custom venues to make these things work. And when you and this is why I'm a little bit skeptical of them outside of the field of like pure entertainment. Because of that, they are not scalable, except on the when you are doing like a single sense at a time and you're talking about like, say, for instance, immersive audio, where you have like that super deep bass that makes you feel like you have physical actuators, but you don't actually. Like, you can scale that. You can't.
I was kind of expecting that, more like rumbles
Right.
and not just fury and rage of 10.0 earthquakes. It just, I don't know. I was just,
oh man,
it was comical. It wasn't
Well,
even.
I mean, and that stuff's more effective, right? In tricking your senses. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember, but like back when everybody was going all in on the metaverse, there was some really interesting research.
Chris, she's talking to you.
I think it was Microsoft, but it might have been somebody else who just put wristbands around people's wrists and had them like, and used those to do like slight squeezes. And with those squeezes and the like immersive audio and video that you got through the headset, you could really trick people into feeling things, like feeling like they were picking objects up or like they were catching things, or it takes subtle indicators to fool your mind. If the indicators are too strong, then you're like, what the fuck is that? Oh, sorry.
Blowing your back out. Yeah.
I forgot how much I'm allowed to swear on this podcast.
No, it's okay. We're all right. It's fine.
That's it.
You heard Justin. I mean, come on.
I said MFers.
Well, see, I'm curious about this whole thing. Does this set the stage for like the syndication of amusement parks? Like, could we have movies that are like this? Here's the rides, like in the cheap version.
I will say that with this, where you're going with this is like the water slides with the lights and how the patterns, that's kind of cool. Like do that on top of a roller coaster. Now we're getting somewhere. I think there's some things here because if I'm on a roller coaster, I expect that kind of
production value.
If Chris lended you his goggles and you were there with your goggles on and you were riding this whole thing in Spain, would
it's the only place goggles go?
You? Yeah.
Down the water slide?
Down the water slide, you're feeling the water.
Goggles?
Somebody there spitting at you, whatever it is, and then like there you go, right? Is that like the poor man's version of going to like Disney or whatever? I don't know.
It's a different type of club, Mark.
I think that's different.
Weirdly, it's like the rich man's version of that, because who this is available to is the weirdos who have bought $5,000 Apple headsets so that they can pretend they're not on an airplane.
Oh, we just lost 7 listeners. Rachel, thanks.
No, I love weirdos. You're my people. Come back.
Let's face it. Here we are. So
If they already hang up, they're not going to hear you.
Oh my God, we've lost so many listeners on this.
Louder.
all right. So I'm in.
I'm all in. I'm going to see a 4D movie.
I think you should do it once, but like if I was mentally prepared, I wouldn't have been so shocked at how.
I'm sorry, but what were you expecting? Like,
I'm ready to scar my children permanently tonight.
I kind of knew, but not to that degree. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
there's pain, and then there's pain.
I mean, I've experienced a 4D movie, but it was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I was 18 years old, and it was a 15-minute short about riding a roller coaster.
See?
So I'm not sure. I'm
Wait,
not
in
sure I'm ready
Gatlinburg,
for
why
that.
didn't you just go out and then ride a roller coaster?
Yeah. It's right there.
Probably the training
that is
video
in
for
Pigeon
it.
Forge, Chris. That's a whole different experience.
That's next county over. We don't talk about them now. Down here.
It's
We're going
5 miles away in a whole new
Sevierville?
world.
Are you kidding me?
5 miles away in a whole new world.
Yeah.
It takes 30 minutes to get there.
Well,
all right. Well, Justin, thank you for your vignette there. It was overly realistic and has scared most people away from ever visiting these theaters.
I hope I help someone out there to decide, like,
it's a PSA.
not to do that.
We now know who will not be sponsoring the show.
Regal.
So Joe says he saw one in a 6D theater. I want to know what's 5D.
What are the other dimensions?
Did we miss a D?
I don't know. But the 4D didn't even have a 3D visual. It's just like wind, water, earth, and rain or something.
That's why you should have demanded your money
I do have a lot
back.
of questions about this because this is my other point is don't we already experience all movies
It's like
in 4D
4DX.
because the fourth dimension is time?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like to watch
I
the
think
end of
it's
the
a
movie before the
marketing-
beginning, so really get that 4D
backwards.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. No, I take that back. We're not going to take a quick break. We're going to take a break, but it's not quick. So we have and I was prepping the rest of the crew here before. We have not our regular commercials, the type of commercials we normally run. We have some special audio messages from people who want to give their own little retrospective on 100 episodes of AV SuperFriends. So we'll run those. We do. So I'll run those and you can enjoy them. And when we come back, we're going to talk about when AV was the most AV of AV stuff. So Jamie, let's put up a card and I will run one of these things.
Oh, the AV SuperFriends podcast, where AV stands for actually verbose, because somehow 5 AV professionals with more acronyms than ideas managed to turn everything into a 90-minute debate about HDMI dongles. It's like watching a tech support call that no one asked for, but somehow still ends with, "We'll pick this up in part 2. The cast of characters: Marc, the self-proclaimed veteran of events, a.k.a. the guy who probably keeps a milk crate of VGA cables in his trunk, just in case. Hates documentation, but will spend 20 minutes documenting why he hates it. Jamie, on a mission to prove that cheaper is better, even if it means daisy-chaining 3 Raspberry Pis to run a projector. Half his dialogue is, "We didn't really need Crestron for that." Larry, the so-called grounded one, who insists on thinking about the students. Adorable. But come on, Larry, we all know no one reads the user guides anyway. Chris, the keep it simple guy, which is ironic given he's the first to spiral into a 10-minute rant about AV over IP standards. Simple? Sure, Chris. Keep telling yourself that. Justin. Poor Justin, still stuck in the metaverse. He's like a ghost haunting the podcast. If ghosts interrupted with, well, actually, every 15 minutes. The content. The podcast is a fever dream of cable management nightmares. Discussions about AV best practices that sound like rejected TED Talks, and the occasional tangent into why they think they're the Ghostbusters of higher ed tech. Because no AV problem is too small, no IT admin is too clueless. The audience. This show is for anyone who has ever cried over a Zoom update mid-meeting or debated the merits of 4K in a 40-seat lecture hall. In other words, it's niche, but the kind of niche where everyone's LinkedIn headline includes AV enthusiast and their profile pic is a badly lit selfie in front of a server rack. So, if you like your podcasts like your AV setups, over-engineered, filled with inside jokes, and just a little haunted by poor planning, the AV SuperFriends podcast is the show for you.
Well, there you go.
That's us.
Was that a compliment?
No.
Yours was nice.
No, it was an accurate assessment.
That was a legally specified
Is that
assessment
a
of
Yelp review?
Yes.
I thought it'd be fun to roast our nonsense.
Yeah, it was a good roast. It is definitely.
I like it.
Oh, we got another one coming up after this. But anyway, okay, so
And you can do it with 3 raspberry pis, you jerk.
you did daisy chain 3 raspberry
If I
pis.
do it 2 now.
So for our first topic, after 30 minutes, but 40 minutes almost, which we'll keep short here, so we're not here all afternoon. But
hell we will.
I think, Mark, you raised this from the perspective of like IT people. AV is kind of like this mysterious, like random proprietary black magic voodoo religion that just occurs with a bunch of people with all black clothes and greasy long hair.
We swoop in under the cover of darkness and fix things and scurry off in the background. But when was that? When, like, we all recognize.
Well, I think we all enjoy that. Yeah. But yeah, when was AV the most AV of
when
all
was the
AV?
most AV time that I believe, or that people widely believe, gave us kind of the belief of what it is you guys do? Because you AV folks do all the AV, and that comes from some type of belief structure, right? So when was that? When did that happen? Because I think we're still trying to shed that.
So
that
sometime after VCRs.
We are shedding. We're trying to shed that.
Well, maybe not. Maybe
I
not.
don't think everybody is.
Some people are trying to cling to.
I think a lot of people would like that back because it gives them something to lean on.
So when was that? When was the heyday? When do you think like the definition of like the AV tech?
That's going to be
when
relative.
did it happen?
Yeah,
That's going to be relative based upon personal experiences.
There are concrete dates I can give you.
Oh,
No,
Larry.
Larry.
Okay, never mind.
September
It's subjective and
11th,
measurable.
2001.
Because
I'm
I was
serious, 'cause
thinking
I was
the same
looking-
thing, Justin. I was like, it depends on your age and things, and that's when I'm like, well, the AV Club and the 60s, it was the
Go ahead, Larry.
8mm films and then TV carts. So what is it, Larry? Where are we going?
If
here?
we're looking at the industry as a whole, like, those AV carts were cute and all, but there was no mystery. There was no great experience with that. Like the industry as a whole made huge
Movie Day
jumps.
was the best.
I had great experiences. I don't know who the hell you are in North Carolina that thinks
But
you're
they were
too good
easily
than
explained.
TV.
Like if a 10th grader can roll the cart in and set it up, there's no mystery to that. There's no
Substitute teacher day.
I find 10th graders extremely mysterious, but go on.
I didn't care about mystery. I just didn't want to learn anything.
All right. So
I'm just saying, like, I went back and like, when did AV make the big jumps and progress to a point that they were doing things that a
Are you going to talk about 4K?
No,
Talking about 4D.
4K was not that. 4K is the opposite of that. But from like 2012 to 2015,
what?
I'm serious. Hear me out. Hear me out. In that time period, we got beamforming mics from Clear One. We got lampless projectors.
Oh, the legal
we got
lawsuits.
We got HD Base T version 2 that was taking over everything. We have every control manufacturer putting out touch panels that didn't look like Play School made them anymore. Like
I feel like that was Gen 1 of the new thing.
It was Gen 1, but Gen 2 didn't matter. Gen 2 gave us new versions of crap that came out. It wasn't this big.
But was it the time before that galvanized the belief structure of what AV folks are doing? I'm talking about like pulling oddball, wackadoo, multi-core cable through walls and ceilings that like...
Justin, what's that cable called?
Yeah. And like
that experience was just Like,
well, I'm not saying about the totality of the experience you create. I'm talking about the work that was being done.
But nobody wanted to do that work. That wasn't the work that got you noticed.
But I think that's what made the belief that the AV people were doing all this. They got these weird cables, and they got. I mean, go look at any like off the shelf weird Cisco Polycom wackadoo thing, 323 thing from back then.
Someone with that cable.
That's what I'm saying. Like all that shit give it to some IT guy. They're gonna be like, don't even fucking show me that. I don't want anything to do with that. That's black arts that you guys deal with. That is not what we do. And that's when was that? Because I think that's where people believe the AV person, and that's what they still think we're doing that. That's what's going on out here.
It was the
that
last.
seems very 90s to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the end of analog. in the very beginning of digital.
No, that was terrible time in my life.
No.
Yeah, it was bad. We're not arguing it was good.
I'm not saying it's good or bad.
DVI shit. I didn't want to do any of that.
There it is.
I didn't want to do that.
Nobody did, but
You
that's
had
the
to,
point.
yes.
I
You
think me
had
and
to
Jamie are very
understand
close in dates.
all the voodoo, and I know, like, when I was going through college, right, I was one of the last ones that had to edit on tape and in a nonlinear. And that was such a weird transition, and you really had to understand how analogs all worked, how the CCDs all worked, and then you transitioned into this. Oh well, you just plug this one cable in, and you get ones and zeros and magic. And
see, I don't know the date, but I want to say it's pre-structured cable extension. That, whenever that is, in my mind, is kind of that's the pinnacle of like all the oddball craziness that led to all these custom panels and all kinds of over-the-top soldering and how fast could you guys do all that, like that stuff. Your proprietary
it's odd, Bob,
ends.
but there's no mystery to that. Like, it's just low voltage. Like, that's easy to understand.
You say there's no mystery.
Give that to
but
some
it's
IT
so
consultant.
far outside the skill set of what the other people working in the enterprise do from day to day.
And
that
that's
there
why
is
I
a
think-
certain, if not mystery, mystique.
Yes,
and that's why the pushing of the carts, and when people started to understand that it was just an HDMI connector and they could get a picture, then it became, quote, easy. Digital cameras and on your cell phone became, quote, easy.
I still think this is all relative. There's a lot of mystique about me taking my car in and getting my damn oil changed anymore. So I'm just saying, like, it's all relative on your experiences and what you know and what you don't know. Because those cars are not fun to work on these days. Do you ever open your hood?
Some of them you're not legally allowed to, John.
Like, I don't even know what's going on there. So
it's a bunch of untied shoelaces and zippers and stuff in there.
So,
I look at it as like, when did it really take, not just the average nerd was doing that work, right? You couldn't just take any old computer support person and say, hey, would you go ahead and figure out how to solder up this RS-232 and
needed
connect
a specific nerd.
Yes, you had to have an AV specific nerd. Broadcast engineers was actually still a viable profession instead of a dying profession.
Yeah.
But it's because you had to have a very specific skill set in order to do it. Nowadays, everybody thinks at Amazon and you can just do it.
The problem's not
now
working.
we argue all the time that just because you think you can doesn't mean you can't. But back then, you really had to know.
I'm just saying that right now there's like a interlacing between the nerds and IT and AV nerds. I think there was the same thing back then. It was just an interlacing of
interlaced nerds.
Well, like you could get the same.
That's a topic for AV SuperFriends after dark.
We go frames, not fields, Larry.
Yeah,
progressive, not interlaced.
Same skill set and the telephony group or the low voltage
the telephony group.
Like there were other guys out there that could solder, not just us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not saying there's not.
There were.
Okay. Let's
not anymore.
Go around real quick.
Now there's more IT.
Have you in this room here? Have you pulled individual strands of like 5-wire cable and terminated those during your career?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Right. Okay. See, and now if you were to give that same 5-wire cable to an IT consultant,
you prefer terminating with the 1-piece or the 3-piece kits?
3-piece.
Well,
the whole deal.
Yeah, the whole kit.
The whole thing. Yes. That's what I'm saying. So I feel like that is like, because you several of you just dropped out, right? You don't want to deal with that. And like that is a proprietary skill that you couldn't just wish that upon somebody.
I don't know.
Even
you can follow instructions and
whoa. Slow down.
Tools.
Yeah.
You need
but then the instructions are what the tools say. You just do that.
But who else has that tool on your campus?
No one has that tool on my campus right now. Like that doesn't really matter.
How do you not have one?
You may have a different version of it if you're doing SDI.
You're not doing SDI?
Like yeah.
Well, yeah. That's not the tool set that did theirs.
But I think that was probably, to me, everybody had to do a lot of that, right? And that was an AV thing. We're pulling all that in there, and then your RS-232 control cable running parallel to that. Like that was very point to point in nature, and we all had those very unique niche skill sets that, trust me, the IT folks did not want to be doing that type of labor at the time, and it was very labor intensive. And I feel like that's where the belief structure came from. These guys are coming in here with their Torah grade, yada, 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 and their specialty tools, and they're doing all this stuff. I don't want anything to do with that. That looks like a lot of work to me. There's boxes and shit everywhere in the room. Like, I'm staring out of that. And I feel like that's the AV mystique. And like, it was funny because I think you're not wrong on the dates though, Larry. I think it's probably a nudge before that, I would believe, for, like I said, the extension and the ITification of all of this, but the old school point-to-point days. And there's probably folks in here that are like, oh, I'm take this back to the very beginning, but I don't know. I still get the belief that that's what people think is going on in AV with the AV folks. So when you put an AV in your title, that's what people believe you're doing.
No, I agree. I had a conversation with the campus leadership not too long ago because we're trying to kind of reclass jobs. And their thought process was, well, all you guys do is set up the projector. Mm-hmm. Like, whoa, time out.
Mm-hmm.
Take it out of the box, put it up there, you're done.
That's
right? That's all we're doing.
3% of our job.
Right.
We do as much cable pulling as infrastructure. We do as much computer support as computer support, and we dabble in all kinds of networking. Yeah, but you just put up the projector.
Right.
Okay. But Mark, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But because we now our skill set blows up into all these areas, different areas. That's why I go back to the days when you had to understand AV at the end of that analog and beginning of the digital. Mm-hmm. And now that could be probably, Mark, you and I are probably in the same time frame, that late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know. 2012 seems a little late, but
I feel like there's a lot of good technology out there at that point.
Yeah, well, I was like, at that point, the boxes we were putting up were doing things we could never do before.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when it was hard for people to understand.
Okay.
Experientially,
wait,
yes.
You're miking or you're picking up audio in this entire room with just that
one little thing.
You're transferring this digital signal across the building. Like, that's when the mystery and the skill set went beyond, we can terminate this cable that anyone can follow instructions and terminate. And it became an independent skill set that we could market.
But is that also the thing that made it seem, quote unquote, easy? And I'll use the term, because we got to put those in there for effect. Is that what made it easy that then made people believe, well, anybody can do that? And that's just
I think that came afterwards when the consumer aspect of it came out, when anyone at their home could get the same experience.
Well, but Larry, there's still a lot of people who still assume that any sort of network-based transport, whatever, can just plug into the network and work, and then they wonder why it's not. So,
yeah, and that has devalued that mystery so much.
It works until it doesn't, Jamie.
Yeah.
Well, also, like, you get into like just the tools. You mentioned the tools before, like your tools from like late 90s. I'm going to bring up like a vector scope or some weird thing like along those lines. Like, are you still using those same tools today? I mean, we are in like broadcast, but not in like AV proper anymore. Like, how do you troubleshoot an analog signal versus digital? Right? And getting into those kind of questions, like, how do you know in these new, and like, there was a little more what seemed like art than interpreting, like, you're interpreting these weird ass images and telling me what's going on here versus now it's like, is it there or is it not? It's not.
Yeah.
Okay, now what? Right? And so there is a little bit of that mystique, like we said. So I don't know. It was reflective, I guess, in my regard.
Yeah, there's still a lot of sorcery in the pro audio world. And I think that mystique still lingers in that discipline where there's a lot of by ear like amazing things that you can do with active acoustics and AI, but also a lot of by ear calibration still.
Well, to your point, Rachel, I would argue that all audio is still in that mystique world, because anytime that
there's some people out there disagree. They're like, no, the computer says it sounds good, Justin. It sounds good. It's like,
anytime
it sounds like shit.
I didn't change anything.
Yeah,
we're working on some kind of project. Oh, here we go. It's the managed PC. It's got to be something on the USB. I literally do not change anything. I wear pants and I don't touch my damn volume knob or gain or anything. I don't know. Everybody stay off my
comfortable
ass.
with you talking about knobs and pants
from your remote location.
Look,
it's ridiculous.
My ears are perfect. I tune a room exactly to the level of ringing that I hear every single day from all those years of headphones.
IT does something in a like, hey, we might need some help with audio. Oh, you got the video side right, I see, but you need some help with audio because so there's a little bit. I agree, Rachel. Going back to the original point.
What about the pants?
Yeah, that I don't wear pants. So I would.
That's because you told
You
them.
all told them.
What? It's not that
you
kind of
do.
show.
That-
All right.
Whoa! Whoa!
Proven that you're wearing pants
That
today.
was a dangerous, dangerous
100
move there.
episodes in, and you proved
I've got
it.
pants on.
Yeah.
It's wearing pants
I've always
today.
Yeah. That's a special
Something
occasion.
on,
Some of their
shorts
episodes.
or pants.
Notice, you,
It just depends on.
Oh, man.
notice you've never stood up
I've never
before.
had to
It's always
stand
something
up.
interesting.
I never thought
You
it
know
was.
what? I take it all back. This is the most
I
AV
never thought
AV has
this was
ever
a whole
been.
issue, but
Right now.
apparently it is.
Oh, it's never an issue. Never. All right. So
Did we solve it?
we solved
No.
it. It
It was
started with
last
the F connector on the game consoles where it all started.
With the switch between TV and game.
Yep. That's
There's,
how we got
I would say probably there is something to be said about looking at a time, kind of starting with that analog to digital switch into the IT-ification of AV, and it's like it's a longer process, I think. But there was a lot of moving parts where we were still doing a lot of analog stuff and mixing with digital. Mark, remember the first couple of systems we deployed where we still had a dedicated analog audio run because we couldn't reliably embed digital audio over the HDMI, and we had to like
trick it.
side horn the analog audio with it, and it was a mess. So
That still happens a lot.
I'm still-
analog.
I'm still
audio
doing
no,
a
it's
little bit of
perfect
that.
now.
is perfect.
Unfortunately.
Right. And so we're going to set up a whole booth at InfoComm. It's just going to have all the glory days AV technology at it. It's going to be great.
I believe there's an entire hall of that
We'll
stuff
get a-
still.
We'll get a cease and desist order from a certain audio company.
No way.
Oh, a
It's
legal
good.
company who used to make
Yeah.
They just
microphones.
make stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, legal firm.
All right. Well, that was a little bit of
Okay, well, a little
Retrospective.
trip through memory, trip down memory lane. We're gonna take another break here. I've got another one of our guest
my God.
roast appearances here. We can enjoy that, and then we'll come back and talk about our favorite moments from the last 100 episodes.
This is a long
and
show.
then we'll go home.
Can we take a
Or
break?
go-
I feel like we need a break.
No.
Okay.
no.
Taking a break right
There you
now.
go.
Right
Get
now.
it in now.
Ah, the AV SuperFriends, the perfect blend of overanalyzing tech and underachieving humor. If you've ever wanted to hear 5 AV experts passionately argue about why your Zoom meeting failed while dodging personal responsibility, this is your show. It's like The Avengers, but everyone's superpower is explaining why someone else screwed up the wiring. The hosts. Marc, the guy who swears he doesn't need to read the manual because he's been doing this since before Crestron was cool. Spoiler, Crestron was never cool, Marc. Jamie, always pushing for the cheapest solution, even if it involves duct tape and a prayer. It works until it doesn't. Might as well be his motto. Larry, the voice of reason, which would be helpful if anyone actually listened to him. Every episode, you can hear the slow death of his optimism as the others derail any chance of staying on topic. Chris, the self-proclaimed jerk of the group. But honestly, his rants sound like rejected white papers from 2012. Keep it simple, he says, before going on a 20-minute tirade about why HD-based T is still superior to AV over IP. Justin, trapped in the metaverse and, honestly, still more grounded than half the team. If he's not the ghost of bad tech decisions, he's definitely haunting your bandwidth. The show. The podcast is like a poorly grounded XLR cable. There's a constant hum of chaos, punctuated by the occasional feedback screech of a bad hot take. They say they're off the rails, but honestly, when were they ever on them? Every episode is a masterclass in turning a simple topic into an overcomplicated dumpster fire. Let's discuss the future of AV and education, they say, and somehow it devolves into a fist fight over whether VGA cables are still useful. The audience. This podcast is for the true AV nerds, the ones who keep spare cables in their cars just in case, and use phrases like, "Latency isn't the problem, you are," in everyday conversation. It's also for people who enjoy watching 5 adults argue over tech like it's the Super Bowl of insignificance. Seriously, these guys could make a patch cable sound controversial. Can't wait for the groundbreaking discussion on how HDMI cables are ruining education. Riveting stuff, guys. In conclusion, if you're into AV and like your podcasts equal parts informative and exhausting, the AV SuperFriends have you covered. Just don't ask them to agree on anything, except maybe that the local IT guy definitely did it wrong.
I think it's a fair assessment. By the
I
way,
feel personally attacked because I feel like we did a lot of work that last segment trying to prevent Larry from making a point. And also, I am currently working with somebody on a paper about why HDMI ruins everything.
Nice.
And HDBaseT is superior to AV
really
over IP.
hurts my feelings.
Who are these assholes that keep sending these things in?
That was
Is
me.
that you and your rock band, Larry? Your dirty ass rock
It's a
band.
hardcore band.
Apparently, that's a thing too. People think that I'm in a rock band.
It is.
You're in a rock band.
You are a rock band, yeah.
Drummer.
People walk up to me at the last conference and say, "Are you in a rock band?" No, I'm not in a rock band.
All right. Before we get to our favorite moments, I do have a couple of things by the numbers here. So I did some parsing of 100 episodes of nonsense. And yes, to alleviate the question, this is episode 100 of Off the Rails. We have done over 200 total published episodes on our feed, so there's way more stuff out there. So I understand the numbering's a little confusing. The total number of guests we've had on this show, 32.
That seems
over
low.
the course of 4.5 years.
That does seem low.
It does seem low, but a lot of repeat guests. Keep that in
Yes,
mind.
we have some multi-time. Yeah.
The total number of episodes where I was not the host.
7.
Ooh, that's not
One.
One.
4.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, right.
That was rather recently.
It was recent. I was still on the show, but I was in Iowa.
Yeah. Yes.
The number of custom art pieces we've published with this was we do a new art piece for every episode. 49.
Ooh.
Here's a fun one. Total length of all the Off the Rail episodes. Anyone want to take a gander at this? If you listen to them back to back.
Ooh, sorry. That's a lot of time.
Are we supposed to go
7
in
days.
hours or days?
7 days.
It is in
7.
days.
Oh, it's
So
okay. 7 days.
just in your high.
I was going to say 5.
Anyone else?
Well, now I got to do math. I was going to do
$1.
172 minutes.
I'm going to go over by 1 and call it 6 days.
So 4 days, 11 hours, 31 minutes, 27 seconds. But if you want to know how much total number of stuff of everything we released in the entire feed, back to back, 6 days, 13 hours, 55 minutes, 19 seconds.
During COVID?
No, it does not include any of the Zoom bullshit. So
Let's start from the top. Let's take our collective notes and just start reading the 400
start at the top
pages
and
that
we'll go from there. We should publish that as a book. All right. Anyone just says Mark's joking about it, but anyone who doesn't know, we have a 300-page document which is simply called meeting notes that starts from like 5 years ago, and it's.
It has
And when you hear Chris say
everything in
it's in the notes, that's where it is, folks. It's in that
It's all
document.
there.
It's not plural. It's singular.
It's starting to work like
ChatGPT
Google. Like, I
even
don't
did-
go to the drive anymore and like search for anything. I just type in what I want.
We
I
have
can't
we
find
have our
it
own
'cause
trained
there's-
AI bot.
Yeah.
to
It's a
scrape that
single
thing.
document. So, all right. The shortest episode we ever did for Off the Rails was 38 minutes, 45 seconds. The longest episode, which
this
Open at our show.
it's not this one. The longest episode I ever did was 1 hour, 26 minutes. The average episode, 1 hour, 5 minutes.
26. That had to be the Paul Zealy one.
Could burn.
Or the USB one. No, I mean, those are the ones we went long
man.
because we were talking to a guest about really complicated things, USB and
Yeah.
network infrastructure,
Yeah,
and
they
those went
did.
long.
Is that there?
Well, we solved it too.
Of course we did.
Well, everything.
We've never talked about it again.
You mentioned ChatGPT a minute ago. I did ask ChatGPT to summarize
They know us.
the show.
The ChatGPT
And it just-
people know
and that's
us.
where those commercials came from.
It described it. It described it as yes. I called
and they were
ChatGPT
like, hey,
just on
we
the
know you
phone.
all.
1-800
You're in our radar.
Hey, Sam.
So it was described as a tech-focused exploration of audiovisual challenges and innovations in higher education. The podcast delves into practical AV issues professionals
Listen,
encounter,
that's-
such as managing AV systems, network configurations, and classroom technology integration. It often highlights real-world scenarios involving AV solutions, mistakes, and learning experiences, blending technical insights with humor and relatability. Recurring themes include team collaboration, technological trends, and the impact of AV design on learning environments. So I think we're pretty well on brand.
But no goggles. Like, surely.
That sounds like the intro to like a
Yes.
A
Good
webinar,
insight, Jamie.
No, that's not right.
Discussions frequently tackle broader issues like procurement, equipment obsolescence, and the intersection of technology with user experience.
Nice.
Justin, you talk nonstop about procurement.
Yeah.
I just say,
Ramp models,
talk about
remember?
Yeah.
all the
Yes,
time.
broke money. Like procurement processes, it's not something we.
You need money before you can do
about
any
a
of these
lot.
things. Yeah, I got it.
Episodes feature storytelling, advice, and reflections on navigating the complexities of AV and academia, often with an irreverent or witty tone.
It's like you wrote that,
Irreverent
Chris.
is accurate.
Our top
irrelevant?
10 episodes. The Off the Rails 8 Years No Touchy is the number one episode from
Really?
yeah, from May 17, 2022. Still the top. Don't know why. It even beats out the Halloween one this year. Then the USB one, It Will Universally Aggravate You. Then poo-pooing signal flow. Then leadership versus actual workers. Then legacy end of life. I'm seeing a theme here on the titling. Zero finger interaction. NDI is the donut spare. What color is your Volvo? This requires a 7-inch deep box. And the renaissance of creative projection.
That was
See what you're missing out on, Rachel. You're missing out on all these good journeys.
So there you go. There's some insight from the last 100 episodes.
7-inch deep box broke me. I'm out. I'm done.
Did we really do that? We named a show.
That was
after
a
that?
riveting episode, and it's true. At the end of the day, it's absolutely true.
Listen, Rachel, 10 minutes and a tweaker handles a lot of issues with that.
Oh my God. Never mind. It's
10
been
10
AV
minutes with a
SuperFriends After
tweaker.
Dark the whole time.
We're not
and so-
hot desking here.
Yeah, where's
The hot
that at in
desking
the
one is
rankings?
it's coming soon.
It's not.
For anybody who doesn't know, the way we do show titles is it's based on what people have said during the show, not meaning it to be a show title. And the only other rule is if they call it out as that would be a good title, it's immediately eliminated from contention for being a title. So just from today's episode so far, granted we had Justin telling a very colorful metaphor, I've probably got maybe close to 30
Holy
possible
smokes, that's
show
a lot.
titles here.
That's the most.
And
And if you come on the show, if you're a guest, we let you.
we want to
let
do this
you
live.
decide.
Yes,
We're
and
gonna
guests
choose
get to
live?
choose.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
no.
No,
we can't.
There's too many, and some of them are not good.
Yeah.
But we do publish, I would say 99.9% of them in the show notes of every episode. You can scroll down and see all our alternate titles. So there you go. Yeah. All right, to the topic at hand here, favorite moments. I think we decided we'd all kind of pick a moment that was our favorite, or something we remember, something we enjoyed, or whatever, or maybe something we didn't like. I don't know.
I remember mine.
Who wants to start with your top memory
I'll
of
go
the last
first.
100 episodes?
Mark,
Go first.
Okay.
you. No,
You want me to go first? Oh.
I
Okay.
always appreciated your fumbling through all your classroom levels because that was complete nonsense. That was what
Yes.
I remember the most, maybe because it was the most recent, but there's a lot of things that I probably appreciate that I've forgotten. So Larry's like, no.
Justin, he only has one level. Like, you can't say his
No, that
levels.
was me.
He only
That was
has
the
one.
other,
One's all
and
you
his
need.
Was,
Like,
yeah.
Common kid
people.
apart.
So I will actually agree with you a little bit on that, Justin, because I loved that segment of shows of how much stuff we all exposed about
It was really
our cultures here,
stupid, too.
and
Yeah.
it was
good. And
that was great
yeah.
because how much belief has been set in stone because of those things, and
Exactly.
I will
It's
never live it
following
down.
you around like
Let's just say
my
that.
ghost on the show.
Yeah, it's good. And there's 100 different levels for those keeping score.
Yeah.
Well, you're not the one. I have the problem where I name them poorly and then try to shoehorn them in between later, and
Yeah.
it falls apart immediately. Yeah. All right, who's next?
I'll go. The one that I think about possibly weekly is the episode that we recorded live from the Infocom show floor, where we were complaining about all of the different stupid buzzwords that people were coming up with to explain how their like boring nothing burgers of an announcement was actually revolutionary and cool. And to this day, I cannot look at a computer without thinking of it as a
I
compute.
remember that. Yeah.
We had a lot of traction that year.
Yeah.
Well, that was the year when compute came out of nowhere, and suddenly everyone was because I think it was an Intel thing or something, and now I've even heard people unironically use the term a compute appliance, which is now more words than just saying computer.
How about this? If you're lazy, PC. That's the easiest.
No, it doesn't count. It's not personal.
2 letters.
It's public computer.
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
All our
Mine
PCs
was
are.
the following Infocom 23, and it was the show we recorded on that Tuesday before
That's
the
very
show
specific.
floor opened.
Oh, yeah.
We found a closet or like a little cubby hole
By
on
the
the
bathrooms.
fourth floor.
By the
Oh
bathrooms.
yeah, up on the top floor in Orlando. Yeah.
Yeah,
Overlooking
No, the
show
first
floor.
one, Justin, not by the bathrooms. That was the
Yeah.
second one.
Oh.
Yeah, we just
And
laid
so
out
we
all the
were-
stuff in
it's a-
there.
and it was the first time all of us had actually been in the same state at any point, and we were all there recording, and it was kind of cool, and it led to the first Infocom where we were doing 2 live shows a day and perspective shows and just hitting the show floor, with purpose, and it was kind of cool. So that whole Infocom was neat.
This one. I have two memories that.
No, one.
No, you're getting 2. God damn it! Listen. So one was the
Which one's
show I
better?
did when I could barely speak.
You
When I
sound
had like the real raspy, like
a drunk Kermit the Frog.
remember
or
that
something?
show? They had like
Yeah.
COVID or whatever the hell it was. I was at home, kids running around in the background, all that. So that one I remember a lot. But the show I enjoyed the most, which I'm still waiting for us to do another show, was the On Trial episode, where we tried our best to be in character as if we were in a courtroom and do the whole and represent the different sides. That one was the most entertaining for me. I felt like it was painful to get through, but we made it. But for some reason, those ones seem to ring in my mind the most as the weirdest and enjoyable and painful episodes we've had.
What technology were we debating in the trial?
I put it out of my misery. I don't even know.
It was just
It failed.
I think
Did it
it was,
fail?
it was something
I
to do
think
with conference rooms or.
It was XR, AR, VR.
Yeah, it was XR, AR, VR, and we had to litigate it as if it was the next big thing that was going to take over or not. And I tried to give you all these really weird scenarios. Tried to win on technicality, as I always do, because we're going to Spain.
And here we are. Everybody's got their VR goggles on 4 years later. Look at us.
Wait.
Look at
Because
us
your
now.
pro just shut down. So
Exactly.
I think the one thing that I always laugh at when I think about the shows is the white elephant gift. Rachel's painting.
We were just talking about
she
that
gave to
before the
Marc.
show, I think.
I completely.
Oh, it's right there.
I mean, we've had a lot of good times, and I agree with Larry. Like the first time we got together, but that painting,
She did not follow instructions.
I keep this
still
thing up.
think about it all the time, and I am just waiting for the next event I go to with a white elephant gift because I'm going to get some wacky ass painting just like
on
that
that
to
was
give
it
away.
was supposed to
But
be.
remember, it
You
didn't-
have
it didn't
inspired
show
me
up.
for
AV
life. It was
didn't-
so funny.
It didn't.
the brief.
It didn't show
showed
up
up like in February.
for like 4 months.
Well, because it was shipped from Poland.
Yeah,
It was-
and I get this weird. I'm like, what the fuck is this box?
You
And then
open
like,
it, you're like, oh my God.
there it is.
It
And like,
scared you when you opened it. Like, oh shit.
and so I
Because
mean,
you'd forgotten how horrifying it looked.
out of cause, it's here to remind me every day.
Yeah,
I mean, never
we've
lived
had some
down.
good shows and things, but that one moment or that whole show, really, the whack-a-mole, it's still sitting back here. I still have the whack-a-mole back here on my shelf.
Oh, I've still got my compute back here somewhere
See,
too.
we all still have that, but that white elephant.
I still have
gift-
this thing that used the AMX table box you stole out of someone's table.
That damn projector you
Someone's
sent me
pissed.
still over here on the shelf.
That projector
haven't turned
works,
it
by
on
the
yet.
way, sir.
That painting
It's classic.
it's core memory, Rachel. Core memory.
Also very, very emblematic of my role. Like I didn't prepare. I didn't read the notes properly.
And it was perfect.
I did something completely off topic.
I had a question.
And it
because
was a great addition.
as I was combing through these memories, remember we did the session at
I do.
Infocom? Remember, we were preparing for the session. I don't know, was this, it couldn't have been pre-show, whatever. We did the draft of the room types.
Yes.
You guys remember that session where we laid out all the different scenarios and people like drafted the room they were going to design in? That was a fun exercise to get through, but it wasn't a show.
That was before the show.
Yeah, exactly. But
that was before I was here.
That was the AV Design Challenge at InfoComm 2018, 19.
In fact, that challenge is what sparked
that's
Rachel
how all this
to
kind
name
of stuff
us
to get
the
in
AV
here. Yeah.
The Super Friends.
I felt like that was actually a really cool. I think we got together and tried it here at OSU. We did some.
I tried it when I was out there. So Larry and I were out there in early 2019 to look at your round room, and during that we tried to go through some of those scenarios, and it was problematic. So,
hey, it was entertaining. It worked. There was a group there that was like over designing everything. Like, what are you?
They were just going all in.
So. Yeah, so it was like cool.
It's a good concept for a workshop. It really has to be managed, I think, to be effective.
Yeah, an hour and 20 minutes was not enough time.
You're not going to solve many problems in that amount of time.
So the memory that I have, that I think I was going through all these and looking through all the different episodes, and I was just scrolling through, and I was thinking about the one I enjoyed the most. It was relatively recent. It was just this summer, and it was Off the Rails 93, the ladder rack incident, which is named after a story Jamie was telling.
So many people
what is that one?
Me message about that.
No. Jamie's was the ladder rack.
Oh, Marc's was the van, yes.
And I like the story that Marc was telling about them destroying a van.
Hey, we didn't destroy that fucking van, dude.
By putting diesel.
Van, dude.
That was probably the funniest thing I had heard in a long time, and I really enjoyed that. If you don't remember, you can go back and listen to it. But I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe, and it was off and kind of like had to step away. It was
Shirley
pretty
from
bad.
Biamp called me. She's like, I just listened to your episode. I was dying on my drive to Vegas listening to
the diesel. That's right. It was the dumbasses put diesel in there.
The great diesel hybrid experiment. Yes, that shit worked, man. Come on.
Which I guess
that truck survived.
Yes, the truck got all the way to where you were going and back after you
filled it full of diesel. Did a gig and came back. Yeah. Don't put a diesel valve on a truck that's not supposed to have diesel in it. Moral of the story.
So that was, I think that's all our favorites. Anybody else have anything else they want to say about the last 100? Because we ain't doing any more of these. We're done.
We're done.
This is it.
We'll shut it down. I'm deleting files.
Until next week.
Until next Friday.
That's the last one of these we're doing today.
We do have a little bit of PSA we have to give out here, though, Chris.
What?
What are we doing later on this month?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Christmas.
Announcement. So, we're doing our holiday special, but our holiday special this year, our Christmas special, we're doing a live read.
Yes.
We're doing a live read of the AV Christmas Carol. It's the Christmas Carol story that we all know and love. But with an AV twist set in a higher ed environment. Gets a little maudlin in there, but we're going to do a live read of that. So I hope you'll join us at this regular time, Friday the 20th at 12:15, 12:30 Eastern, 3:15, 3:30 Pacific.
And
yeah.
Wait, did I get that backwards?
Yeah, those are backwards. Otherwise,
3 Eastern, 12 Pacific.
Yeah. Yes, specific.
This normal time, which is always a little drifty. So,
and those of you who have heard these Halloween shows and the like, this is how these things happen. This will be live, doing the reads, and that's behind the scenes. You'll experience it with us. You can laugh at us. Why would hell will be practicing?
It's in the notes, dude.
Yeah.
Justin, we've been practicing for months. You just don't show.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a little bit of a time after the read to spend with you all. If you guys want to join us and make fun of us, we'll be available to jump in the call with us. So.
And Justin will be wearing festive pants again that day.
I wear
just
festive jackets.
Where he's wearing them is anybody's guess, but yeah.
Just wear a bow with it, man. You're fine.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for episode 100. There it is. We've done it. Who would have thunk it when we came up with this crazy notion 5+ years ago that we'd still be talking politely
all the
to each
people
other.
who actually download this and fill up their devices with this kind of data. Thank you all. Because we wouldn't keep doing it if you guys weren't downloading it. So, thank you.
That's probably not true.
Yeah, you're right. We've been meeting anyway. We have nothing else to do.
We have Zoom calls that say otherwise.
Yeah,
true. We have hundreds of hours of Zoom calls prior to this being a podcast.
All right. Well.
All right. Well, I'm going to roll us out of here.
Roll us out of here.
Let's do it.
And you all can can share your last
Nobody's calling in. God damn it.
Poignant moments or whatever. But
for the 4D movie experience tonight. I'm going again.
Are you going again?
No, just
all
joking.
right.
Double down. All right.
Going to drop acid this time. Then going all in.
That'll make it better.
We're gonna have a heart attack.
We're out.
See you in the afterlife.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, we've managed to ruin yet another episode of AV SuperFriends Off the Rails. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. If you complain loud enough, we might just invite you on the show.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.